3, 2, 1, go!
Kids can't talk to you.
Right.
Your mother, whoever that wants to reach, that's normally reaching out to you, can't. They might have that same demon jump on them and try to follow your.
Yeah.
So it's
because it becomes a generational curse.
It can.
Yeah.
It can. It really can. That
can.
mental. And you know what else helped me is that I finally found a therapist that was for me.
Shout out to therapy.
Yeah. I finally found a therapist that was for me. I had been through therapy. I remember going through counseling in I want to say it had to be in either middle school or high school.
Mm-hmm.
And the person who I was set up with was by my stepfather, and didn't find out until just through conversation that everything I was confiding in with my therapist, they were going back telling because they were friends. And a conversation between my father and I came about to where it was like, wait, I don't exactly.
How you know this?
So that withdrew me.
Yeah.
So when I went to seek therapy, because the job I have now offers that, I would be cautious, and then I would pick up on little things, and nope. Well, I prayed and I asked God, I said, okay, because you have to be intentional. And I think the fact that I wanted to get free and I wanted to be here, because I have 3 kids. I have a daughter that's about to be 33.
Okay.
I have a son that will be 30 this year. And then a daughter that just turned 25.
Okay.
Then I have 4 grandkids.
Exactly.
You know, so I had to be intentional. I know I want to see my grandkids graduate, not just graduate. I want to see them get married. I want to see my great-grands. I want to see whatever it is that God has me for me to see. So what is it that? So I wrote down, I'm like, okay, let me be intentional. God, I need a therapist, and I need a therapist that not only can help me, but I want someone that knows you, that can minister the word to me in therapy. So through my job, they gave me a list of names. So I'm going through their bio, because now I'm at the point that I'm reading. I'm going to investigate. I'm going to look at your background and everything. And in this lady, and I'll give her name is Pamela Paul, Dr. Pamela Paul.
Okay.
She's local.
Shout out to Pamela Paul.
Yeah, shout out to her. She's located in Indian Rocks.
Okay.
And I looked at her bio, and on it gave she's a child. I'm a child of God. She said, but if you choose not to add spiritual into your therapy, I'm okay with that. I can separate them both. I said, wow. So I said, okay. Reached out to her. Bam. Hit it off on the first one. This lady has been such a blessing in my life, to where I will credit God using her.
Yes, definitely.
Into where I'm at today, because
people.
at each of our ending sessions, she prays over me. She speaks life into me. She gives me scriptures to go back and reference to, and now it's just like, therapy is important, but it's also who you got to be intentional who it is. And
that's, you know what, that is very important, because I never even thought about that, because most of us, like who do therapy, most of us get our therapist from somebody else. Like, who you go to, bro? You know what I'm saying? But it's important to first to know what you need, what core values you have, and doing the research to find a therapist that shares those core values. You know, because ultimately you're gonna hold on to what matters to you.
That's right.
You know, like that thing right there said, it got to mean something to you.
Yes.
So you're gonna, when you have a therapist that don't share your morals and they start talking stuff that goes against what you feel and you value, then you're not gonna hold on to that, even though it may be good advice. So that's even for people who are going in therapy, who need therapy, and who will see this and say, you know what, I'm gonna get some therapy. That's me. I got both. Do your research.
Even if you already have a therapist, you might want
you may need to switch. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Start to investigate the core values of the person who's going to be speaking into your life.
That's right.
Because us being believers, we understand how important it is that we are careful of who we allow to speak into our lives. Because, you know, Psalm 1 say, blessed the man who go not in the way of sinners. You know,
That's right.
So to go in the way of somebody means to walk in their advice.
Yes.
And, you know, the permission that they gave you to walk in. So we have to be extremely careful who's speaking into our life. You know what I'm saying? Because we are spiritual people. So we need people with that spiritual understanding, foundation, and with that spiritual connection that they can transfer into our lives, even the healing and the deliverance that they are living in, that they operate out of.
Yeah.
So that's key. But you did. I want to hop back. It's so much, so we're gonna have to do. I
hope I'm answering all y'all questions because I don't want to go too far.
No, because you got to make sure because a lot of this stuff we're gonna get to.
Sure.
But I do want to ask this, and we're gonna end on this because we're gonna talk about. I want to talk about all the stuff. We're gonna come back and do that.
Okay, that's
because
fine.
I want to end
mind.
with this. I think because you're here and you're gonna draw like a certain group of people that you're going to draw to this interview. So I think this is important to end to this. At what point did you experience, because, let me set this up, because one thing people have to understand, because you talk about rooted trauma, and they've heard you talk about roots, and how deep roots run, and how a tree can be here and the roots can be in a completely different yard. So roots run deep and they extend, and that's a representation of generations. And they have been there before a lot of people. Like the roots, the stuff I deal with, they have been ruling my generation.
Right.
So there's a certain type of work to even get that removed. You know what I'm saying? But at what point did you realize, did you feel, or did you notice the breakthrough? When did you receive your breakthrough? And what was the vehicle that breakthrough arrived to you? Okay. How did it get to you?
Okay, so we'll go right back to my last suicidal attempt. I'll start there. It was in 2023. It was during November, right before Thanksgiving. I was living with a guy, and it was a bad relationship, very toxic, very toxic. I say that I was living with the devil itself. No, for real. It was a demonic, it was spirits. A very, And I just kept expressing to him that I felt I needed help. It got to the point that I think it was on deaf ears on him. He got tired of it because he didn't know how to deal with it. So I can't really put the blame on him because I put myself in that situation. Yeah. And when I went through and decided, okay, this is it. I took a bottle of pills, sleeping pills, tossed them, and took a bottle of tequila, drank it behind it, and laid on the couch. I was ready. At this point, I was like, okay, this is it. Yeah. I had wrote a note, took a picture of it, sent it to my family in a group chat, turned my phone off. Called the friend that's always there for me, let her know, yeah, this is it. This is for real. This is it. And the guy told me, you didn't take enough. So I took the rest of them. And she overheard them and was like, and I hung up. Laid there. She had been to my apartment only one time. My whole family did not even know.
Hold on. Did you say he said you didn't take enough?
Yeah.
Okay.
You heard it right. Yeah. He did. He told me that I didn't take enough.
You said you was living with the devil.
Yeah, I was living with the devil. Okay. So I took the rest of the pills. And she didn't know. She had only been to my place one time. My family didn't even know we were living together. They had just met this guy a week before. And
how long had you known him before y'all started living together?
We worked together.
Okay.
So I knew him, but I didn't know him.
How long did you know him?
Did I know him? Yeah, not even that long.
Not until he moved in.
Not until he moved in.
You didn't know him.
Because no, I didn't. Yeah. And that's the key. I didn't know. I was searching, thinking that, and I say this all the time, God allowed it to happen. He needed this because this was the final. He needed. I thought I was done because not too long before that, I was on my Facebook for God, crying out, slobbing, and okay, God, this. But he needed me to know that he is God. He's my husband. He's a jealous God. He's my best friend. And he is the one that is head of my life. All right. So I'm going to get everything out of you. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to allow you to go through this last little bit because I got you. I didn't know.
Like you want to do.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm thinking that my life is about to end. I'm laying on the couch. Come to find out, my friend and my brother, older brother, connected. She remembered where I live. They sent the police to the door. Knock on the door. I'm pretty much out of it. I see myself drifting. And he's sitting at the table. He hears the knock. He looks up. He goes to the door, looks through the peephole. I know now that it was the police. He goes and sits back down, puts his headphones on.
Sorry. What you're expressing to me is you went through that process. gentleman, whoever he is, across the room, sitting you, watching.
Yeah.
Watching you die.
Watching me
So
die.
basically being the murderer.
Being the murderer.
Mm.
So,
Okay.
he put his headphones on. So I couldn't hardly move. So I couldn't say nothing. And at this point, I didn't want to move because I wanted to die. So next, it was quiet. So I'm thinking they went away. They came back because I'm finding out later that they was like, no, that's the apartment. That's her apartment. So they come back, and this time they're banging. This the police opened the door to where I noticed he took it off. He went to the door, opened the door, and went and sat back down. Is there a Trinette here? He points over there at me on the couch, and it was like, are you okay? Are you okay? They set me up, and I'm like, shaking my head. Yeah. They was like, did you take anything? Shook my head. No. Didn't say anything. They asking him, well, what's going on with her? What happened? And I don't know. So I'm going with it. Hey, it's meant. This is what's supposed to happen.
But
God, because they was getting ready to leave because they didn't have no proof that anything was going on. One of the guys happened to see the paper on the table. I got rid of everything but that letter. He picks the paper up and reads it. Stops the police, stops them before they walk out the door and says, look at this. It was the suicide letter. They had no choice but to take me in.
That's right. Look at God.
So, yeah. So they took me in. I find out later that they talked to him. He didn't claim he didn't know anything or everything. He never went out, and my family standing outside waiting for him because they had just met him a week ago.
Mm-hmm.
Waiting for him to come downstairs to tell them something. He went inside the house, closed the door, closed the blinds, turned the lights off, and never said a word to my family. My family didn't know nothing. They didn't know. They were so mad at him. My brothers were like, I don't know if y'all have sisters, but my brothers was
they wanted to see him.
Yeah, they wanted to see him.
Yeah,
they
definitely.
did. They did. And one of my brothers is a hothead, so he was like, okay, when? And then my other brother, my twin, live in Colorado. He like, I'm not coming out there because I know if I come, I know what I'm coming for.
Yeah.
And then I just keep me posted, Mom.
Yeah.
That's what he told. So I go to the hospital, get to the hospital. They do what they had to do. I get Baker acted. Got released on Thanksgiving Day. Get to work, find out that he had been shooting lies to different people. I'm hearing about it. Told people that I went to jail because I had a drug overdose, making it seem like I was an addict. So after that, I'm like, still going through it. And I finally put a date on myself. Now, this was November. I said, okay, God, if things don't get better on my birthday, that's it. So I started making plans to end my life on my birthday. And this time I was going to succeed because the plan I had, it was going to be successful.
So after all of that,
I still...
Even seeing the hand of God with that note.
I still... Because
Rooted. It runs deep.
It runs deep.
Yes.
And that's why I'm telling it runs deep. People don't understand suicide is not nothing to play with. And it runs deep. So I'm going through, I'm going visiting family members from out of town, visiting friends, because they didn't know that this was my goodbye to them. And I think that same friend called me, and she talked to me. And she could hear it in my voice. And she just so happened to be over at a lady named Molly's house, the people who was for the retreat that I was going on. And I had already signed up for the retreat. I had sent Molly an email telling her I'm not going to make it to the retreat only because I knew I wasn't going to be there for it. My birthday was March 9th, and the retreat was the end of the month. So I was like, yeah, give my spot to somebody else who's worthy because I don't think I'm going to make it. She didn't know what was going on. So my friend said, I think something's going on with Trinette. We need to pray. She said, well, do you think that she'll mind coming over to our house? She said, I don't know. Let me check. So she calls me. She said, hey, do you mind going with me over to Molly and Dan's house? I was like, no, I don't mind because I'm not knowing what type of people they are. So I go over to her house. I jump in the car with her, and we ride over there. We get in the house. As soon as I walk through the doors, I could feel the presence of God. Because remember, I've always known who he was.
Yes.
I've always had a relationship and a connection with him. I just never thought I had a purpose. So I feel the presence of God, and I'm like, okay. So we go down, we sit in their den area, and she was like, just talking to me, asking me questions. And then she said, do you mind if we pray over you? No, I don't mind. Grabs the healing oil. They rub their hands, and they just begin to lay hands on me and pray over me in the spirit. Scripture, just pray. Just praying. Now, these are white people praying the word of God, praying over me. And I knew it was nobody but God that was using them, because I could hear his voice saying, be still and know I am God. So then she was like, Trinette, please go to this retreat. I'm telling you now, if you go, you will not be you won't be disappointed. And I'm telling you, if things don't happen the way that you think they're going to happen, or what turn out the way they are, then it's between you and God. But just give it a chance. I said, okay, especially after what I had just went through, like a breakthrough was there. Like I knew God was telling me, you need to go. So I said, okay, I'll go. Go ahead and put my name on the list. She said, I never took it off. Went to that retreat. By the end of that retreat, strongholds were broken.
Ooh, hold on. Ooh. Turn that camera my way. Stay tuned for part 2.
3, 2, 1, go!